For all your TCG needs, make sure to check out alphatradingcardgames.com. What's poppin', everybody? This is Saber94. A few months ago, I made a rant video / casual review on Elden Ring. At that time, I had around 200 hours into the game. And 200 hours, this is me just trying to explore every area, every little corner, trying to do all of the side quests, just everything you can imagine. I wanted to complete everything for the game. And in a way, I had pretty much explored most of the standard areas like Khalid, Limgrave, Khalid, Liurnia, Atlas Plateau, made it all the way to the Royal Capital, which I thought, it's the final area of the game, final boss. And we're finally done, right? I mean, I also did the underground areas, the Sophia River, and the rest of the stuff underground, Volcano Manor. I mean, just so many different areas. Just 200 hours and not even being done with the main game. This was already beyond impressive for me. Like, the game was so huge. Even when compared with something like Bloodborne. I couldn't possibly imagine the game being even bigger than it already is, but it turns out I was wrong. As I'm recording this now, I'm over 300 hours in. 300 for a main game. Haven't even beaten it yet. Like, the only other games I've had like this amount of hours, like 300 and over hours, is pretty much Pokemon games. Training Pokemon level 100 for the Battle Frontier, just stuff like that. There's no other game or many games that I would put in so many hours. That's not a Pokemon game, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force game, etc. But I was seriously wrong. This game, it doesn't end. It's like it doesn't end. I can't believe this game is like a PlayStation 4 game. It just seems like it's a damn PlayStation 7 game or something, straight up. Since the last video that I've made, I went to the Forbidden Lands, Deeproot Depths, another area underground, the Hulky Tree area where the bitch Malenia is, the Lord of Blood area, which is also underground. Mong, the Lord of Blood, he has his own area. I didn't know that area was going to be so big. So there's that, another full-fledged stage. And there's one more area that I don't remember the name, but it's after you commit the cardinal sin with Malenia. So many more areas, and we're talking about full-fledged, developed areas here, like big stages. You're going to need a long time to finish. With bosses, a lot of stuff to explore and collect. It's insane, man. It's insane how big this game is. But having said that, I do want to touch on a few things since the last video. Now that I've played the game even more, I don't think I really talked a lot about the spells last time, and I do want to mention it as something that annoys me about this game. I didn't raise my character to have faith, but I did put in a lot of points into arcane, all the way up to 70 to be exact, and I can pretty much use all of the sorcery spells in the game. Now, the way I see it, in Bloodborne, if you make an arcane build and you put in all of your points into arcane, pretty much all of the arcane spells become really broken. They do a lot of damage and they're basically destroying things in one shot. In this game, I have like 70 arcane. I've tested out some of the most broken spells, or apparently they're the most broken spells, like Comet Azure, Renala's Moonblast, I don't think that's the name, but Renala's Sorcery, let's just say that. Stars of Ruin, like you name it. I've tested all of those spells out, and they're not really effective. They're slow and unpractical. They don't do a lot of damage. Like, you use Comet Azure or Renala's Moonblast, the damage you do, like I tested this on giants and other monsters. If you just use the glintstone shard 2 times, it's the same amount of damage. Much faster and much simpler. So despite all of the options for sorceries in this game, they don't work out that well for me. I don't know if it's any different with faith. Once again, as I've said, I didn't raise my character's faith, so I didn't use any of the faith incantations and stuff. I think those would be stronger, but I don't know, maybe it's a similar thing with sorceries. And before I forget, with the sorceries, I have used like strong ass staffs with them, like level 9 Lusat's staff, the Carrion Scepter, like Renala's staff basically. So it's not like I'm using shitty staffs to cast the sorceries. So not that impressed with that. Obviously, since the last video, I've played against a lot more bosses in this game. Obviously from the extra areas that I've explored and mentioned here. And even though I do think Bloodborne has amazing bosses and a lot of my favorite bosses that are just mega cool from every angle, like Gehrman, you know, the Cleric Beast, Lady Maria, I think if we're gonna be fair, this game, it wins in the bosses regard, simply because there's just so many more bosses. You know, even if you don't consider all of the repeat and, you know, filler bosses like the Wyvern Dragons and, you know, the Tree Avatars, the big tree dudes, and other repeat bosses, this game just has more variety of actual big proper bosses. You know, the Dragon Boss in the Deep-Root Depths, Rykard in the Volcano Manor, Mong, the Lord of Blood, the Giant in the Mountaintops of the Giants, and I know there's a few more that I still haven't played. But I do want to give special mention to the fucking bitch that is Malenia. I'm not even gonna say she's one of the strongest bosses I've ever played. She is the strongest boss I've ever played in any video game. The most broken boss ever. I'm gonna confess right now, I'm not gonna show any footage of me playing against her because she destroys me so easily, it's embarrassing. Can anyone even beat her without summoning Ashes of War, like one of your familiars to help you? I'm sure there's some professional players that can do that, but I swear to God, she's just too broken and too fast for a game like Elden Ring. Normally I'd say she's fast, so she'd be on the league of a boss like Gehrman and Lady Maria, you know, and she'd belong in Bloodborne, which is a more faster paced game, or has faster paced combat, let's just say that. But even if she was in Bloodborne, I'd say she's just too much. She just seems like she belongs in like Ninja Gaiden Sigma or something, that kind of game. And I mention this shit too because I'm not the best player in the world, but I consider myself a decent enough player, you know. I've played and beat a lot of games that are considered hard, like Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on hard mode, Bloodborne, crazy mode in Castlevania Lament of Innocence, etc. You guys get the idea. But she is insane. She's absolutely impossible. Number one, as I've said, she's really fast for a game like Elden Ring. She has a crazy ass aerial jump spin attack that does a million swipes in a few seconds that it will absolutely kill you. Like, you gotta be extremely far away from her, and even then she's probably gonna get a few shots in. At least she gets them on me. If you're close, it's a guaranteed death. Does extremely high damage. I think that just goes without saying. If it wasn't for the crazy ass damage, you know, a million slashes she does, fine. But she does fuckloads of damage, mega easy. And then the most broken part of all, at least in the first form, because you also gotta fight her in her second form, but even focusing in on what she can do in the first form, she fucking heals herself all the time, every time she lands a hit on you. What kind of shit is that? And that even includes when she hits your familiar, like any Ashes of War you summon, she hits that guy too, she still gets to heal. So what always happens pretty much, you know, you try and get a little bit of damage, you're trying to avoid dying with all of her crazy ass damage. She does that crazy spin aerial attack, and even if you avoid the hit somehow, if she hits your familiar, you know, the familiar isn't gonna dodge shit, they're gonna take all those hits, and then she's gonna heal all of the damage basically. Be back to full health in no time. Same applies if she hits you, just heal the damage, just too busted, man. Man, and this is not even going to the second form. Once you do manage to beat the first form, she basically has a second form with a full health bar, so it's almost like a double fight in a row of a crazy ass boss like that. She's able to inflict Scarlet Rot in this mode, attack you from the sky. God damn, man. There was one instance when it took everything out of me to just beat the first form. I killed the first form, the cutscene plays, and then immediately after we get into the second battle, she just kills me in 1 second. And then you gotta start from scratch again. God damn. I mean, I made it to the second form a few times and lasted more than a second. But it's just extremely tough. It's not even a consideration to try and beat her without summoning a familiar, but even with a familiar, it's just such a tough fight. It's insane. Easily the strongest boss in any From Software game, and I haven't even played all of them, but there's no way there's anything that can top this bitch. And that's all I got, I guess. I mean, you should check out the previous Elden Ring video if you want to know my thoughts for the rest of the game. Very impressive, had a great time with it, but once again, this game is so big. There's no way, this is a type of game that I really want to get all of the endings for, and I would want to 100% trophy it, just like I did with Bloodborne. But there's no way I'm doing that. Takes so many hours just to get to the first playthrough and just do everything, explore everything, do all of the quests. It's the type of player in me as well. I want to do everything. I don't want to play a game and just half-ass it or rush it. But even if you would rush it, this is still an extremely long game, possibly the longest game of all time, until there's something else that tops it, I guess. Maybe From Software are gonna make a game that's even bigger than this. How is that possible? I don't know. But once I do get one ending, which is probably gonna be Rani, I think that's the one I'm gonna pick. I have to put this down. There's no way, there's no way I can replay the game from scratch again and do it multiple times to get all of the damn endings. It's just too much. As I've said in the last video, they definitely make your spirit, they kill your spirit this game. It's just so big. It just towers over you as something that you just can't finish. Just keep playing, it doesn't end. There's always a new area, a full-fledged area, mind you. But anyway, that's all I got. Fuck the snow area, by the way, too, where you can't see the snowstorm area in the mountaintops of the giants. That was some shitty design as well. Fuck that area. But most importantly, fuck Malenia. She's the worst of all. I do wonder if I'm ever gonna kill her. I guess I'd have to watch some YouTube videos on how to fight her. Maybe that's gonna help. But she's just crazy. No casual gamer is gonna be able to beat a boss like that, I'd say. Anyways guys, hope you enjoyed this rant on Elden Ring. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Leave a like, and I'll see you in the next video. What